How's everyone doing? This is my second video update, and we've got a lot of news to get to. Two really big topics. One of them is actually kind of urgent if it proves out to be true, and it has to do with Transnistria. And then we're going to also talk about how the Ukraine government is targeting Russian journalists for assassination. And we'll also do a clown world. We'll do a good clown world, by the way. One sec, let me stabilize this video a bit. We'll cross the street, we'll go for a walk, and we'll knock out these new topics, these news topics. And they just redid the roads here on this street in Cyprus. You guys can see it. We've got like 2 lanes and a bus lane going up and another bus lane going down. And it's all in one direction. They used to be in 2 directions. Anyway, not bad, not bad. So let's talk about Transnistria. And this is a big topic because we are getting reports that the Zelensky regime is actually thinking of opening up a second front in Transnistria, and they're looking to get their hands on what appears to be, at least from the reports that I'm getting, the one of the largest ammunition depots in Europe. And we all know that the Zelensky regime is desperate for ammunition, really desperate. So there are a lot of Ukraine officials and military analysts, as well as Russian military analysts, who are saying that Ukraine is going to be opening a front in Transnistria. Now, I don't know how capable Ukraine is at this moment, given how degraded their military has become, to actually open up this type of front in Transnistria. But these are the reports that we're getting. There was actually an attack in a village known as Mayak, and I'm going to pull it up here. 2 explosions in a settlement known as Mayak in Transnistria. This is according to the Interior Ministry, and they say that these attacks took place early in the morning. 2 explosions in the town of Mayak. The first was at 6:40 local time. The second was at 7:05. And the 2 explosions, what they accomplished is that they took out a powerful antenna of the radio center, of a radio center. The 2 most powerful antennas are disabled. 1 megawatt, the second half a megawatt. Both rebroadcast Russian radio. There were no injuries among the radio center staff or local residents, said the Ministry of Interior Affairs, the Interior Affairs press office in Transnistria. So you had an attack taking place. For those who aren't familiar with Transnistria, it's a post-Soviet frozen conflict. It's like a little sliver of land, a little strip of land to the east of Moldova, and Moldova, of course, borders Ukraine. There is a large population of Russian speakers. There's also a large population of Romanian, Moldovans, Ukrainians, and it's not recognized. This little sliver of land is not even recognized by Russia, though it has friendly relations with Russia, and there are, from what I gather, there are Russian peacekeepers there as well. But there is a huge ammunition depot in this territory. And let me just pull up some other information with regards to Transnistria. And interestingly enough, in Germany, at the Ramstein Air Base, there's going to be a meeting of defense ministers from 40 countries to discuss how to defend Ukraine. That's interesting. That's taking place as well. You just had Lloyd Austin and Blinken leave Poland after they met with Zelensky. Austin actually came from, he was on the board of directors from Lockheed Martin, I think, or Raytheon. Like, he directly left the board of Lockheed or Raytheon. I forgot which one. And then he became defense secretary. And now you have like world record military spending that's taking place. Funny how that works. But in Transnistria, in Pridnestrovie, it's actually known as this frozen conflict, this breakaway republic, which is not recognized by Russia, or is actually still recognized in the international community as part of Moldova. Is actually its proper name is the Pridnestrovie Moldovan Republic, or the PMR. They've canceled their May 9th Victory Day parade. The government is meeting to discuss regional security, how to secure the area. There are reports that the Ukraine military is ready to strike. There are also reports that they're working with Romania as well in order to launch an attack against Transnistria, Pridnestrovie Moldovan Republic, PMR. Let's just call it PMR for short. And this is being deemed a terrorist attack by the PMR authorities. I'm just trying to see what else is they're reporting with regards to this. It is a breaking story, and I think by the time I get this video up, it will remain a breaking story. It is under the protection of peacekeepers. So Transnistria is under the protection of Russian peacekeepers. There is the largest ammunition depot in Europe as well. Kiev wants this. Kiev wants this a lot. It's 2 kilometers from the border to Ukraine. So this is a dangerous situation, no doubt about it. The authorities in the PMR are going to be putting up checkpoints, and they're going to try to stabilize the situation. That's how it looks. According to a political propagandist and analyst in Ukraine who goes by the name of Butusov, he says that Ukraine has the legal right to demilitarize the military facilities of the Russian troops threatening us. This will make it possible to capture Russian prisoners for exchange, eliminate the threat of a breakthrough by Russian troops, seize large arsenals of ammunition, and release 2 Ukrainian brigades that stand on the Ukrainian-Moldovan border. So he's actually calling for, this military analyst is actually calling for the immediate action against Transnistria, an immediate military action with regards to Transnistria, and he spells out the benefits. So, yeah. Big story, breaking news. And actually, I want to read you. I'm going to have to find somewhere where there's a little more shade and I can actually sit down, because I want to read you an analysis by Igor Strelkov. That name might sound familiar to many people who have been following the Ukraine conflict going back to the Donbass in 2014, 2015. Strelkov was, he played an important role in the Donbass, both on an actual military level. I mean, he was actually on the ground fighting and leading troops. And he also played an important role as an analyst as well, in analyzing the situation in the Donbass and in East Ukraine with regards to the war against, at that time, the Poroshenko Ukraine military. This is good. So they're building these new offices here, I guess. I don't know if you guys can see. Pretty interesting. I think they'll turn out nice. But and over there, all the way down there, supposedly the Qataris are going to be I think the Qatar government or the UAE has bought up all that land right behind me, and they're going to be building like some sort of 5-star hotel or something like that. But so Strelkov said this. This is what Strelkov said with regards to Transnistria. And this is a translated a translation from his Russian post. Now, sometimes Strelkov gets things right. Sometimes he gets things wrong, like all analysts. He, sometimes he's spot on, and other times not so much. But when he says something, it's important to listen to what he says. So there's information about the joint preparation of the Romanian-Ukrainian coalition for the cleansing of Transnistria. And this is translated from Russian. So, coalition for the cleansing of Transnistria received additional confirmation. In addition to the units of the Moldovan army that are equipped with Romanian personnel, as mentioned in my previous report on this topic, there is information about the training of entire military units on the territory of Romania proper and already disguised as Moldovan military. There is also information about the concentration of Ukrainian units on the border with Transnistria. The interest of the Ukrainian military command is not only to give Kremlin a political click on the nose, but also has quite applied goals. The capture of the ammunition depots in Kolbasnaya, where a fairly large amount of ammunition for Soviet-made artillery systems is still being stored. That's key. Ammunition for Soviet-made artillery is still being stored. The Moldovan authorities and military are openly afraid of war and do not even really hide their fears. But if, or rather when, the order is given, absolutely no one will ask them. The Transnistrian army has zero chance to counter the offensive for any significant period of time without external support in the event of an attack from both sides. And this is exactly what is being planned, as the NAZI governor of the Odessa region, Marchenko, has already hinted. And the Russian armed forces are currently unable to help Transnistria with anything but a certain number of missile strikes at infrastructure facilities. Our sources estimate the probability of the enemy attack on Tiraspol in April, early May, already as high. So that was posted on Strelkov's Telegram. I think it's pretty clear what he's saying. An attack in end of April, early May is pretty high, according to his sources. So, yeah. We're going to have to monitor what's going on there. We are going to have to monitor what's going on. And Romania involved as well. This is great. I can lean down right here a little bit. All right. Great. I like leaning here. Rest my arm from holding the camera. So, if Romania is involved and Russia protects Transnistria, if they decide to protect Transnistria via a missile strike, because according to Strelkov, that's the only way that Russia can do anything. Somehow I doubt that, but military experts in the comments down below, let me know if that is the only way that Russia can do anything about an offensive against Transnistria. But if they attack via missile and they take out Romanian forces, well then, you got all kinds of scenarios that creep up because you're engaging with NATO. I imagine that Iohannis, the president of Romania, is overlooking this situation with a lot of, I don't even want to say interest, maybe fear. I really hope that Iohannis is like just telling NATO, telling the crazies in the U.S. State Department to back off and to not get Romania involved. Maybe that's why the Romanian troops are kind of undercover as Moldovan troops, but either way, this is a bad situation. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm sure that Russia is aware of what's going on as well. I don't think it's as... Strelkov makes it out like the Russians are kind of clueless as to what's going on or helpless. I just don't buy that, but, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what happens. So now let's talk about the next big story, which is the attack on journalists, Russian journalists, by Ukraine, the Ukrainian SBU. Also, you have the white helmets, by the way. According to the Russian ambassador in the U.S., the Kiev regime is recruiting the white helmets. Well, the U.S., NATO. They're going to recruit the White Helmets in Syria to come to Ukraine and start staging all kinds of chemical false flags because, well, the White Helmets in these types of film production, they have a lot of expertise. The White Helmets were even sponsored by George Clooney and his wife. They even made a film about the White Helmets. So the White Helmets have a very deep and close connection to Hollywood, and they were very successful in creating and producing staged chemical false flags in Syria, and it looks like the Zelensky regime needs some of their expertise. Actually, there are reports that the White Helmets are already in, some White Helmets are already in Ukraine working on their next feature film. So yeah, the White Helmets are getting involved. Desperation. The Zelensky regime is super desperate, but you have to be careful. The White Helmets are professional film producers, and they're professional hoaxers. I don't know what the word is, but yeah, they're a nasty bunch. They were embedded with ISIS in Syria, a real nasty bunch. And let's see, what did the ambassador to, or the deputy ambassador to the United Nations for Russia, I believe is who made this statement, Polyansky. He said that there is a well-known model in which provocations involving chemical weapons are used in other parts of the world. First, a so-called chemical incident is organized, then pro-Western non-government organizations, especially the infamous White Helmets stationed nearby, quickly arrive on the scene and collect, in violation of all norms of the non-proliferation regime, questionable evidence, and then feed this story to the Western media. We all know this technology. I can say that the curators of the Kiev regime are not very creative, so they are readying more or less the same scenario for Ukraine. The White Helmets instructors are already in Ukraine. So that's coming from a Russian diplomat at the UN, Deputy Permanent Representative to the UN, Dmitry Polyansky. Those were his statements. And let's get to the fact that the Zelensky regime is trying to kill Russian journalists. And they always talk about how Russia is going after journalists, right? Putin is always killing journalists or going after journalists. We've been hearing this story now for 15 years, even though they've presented zero evidence of such a case, of anything like that taking place. Their best, they always trot out Navalny as some sort of journalist or some sort of opposition leader, even though everyone in Russia pretty much hated Navalny except for maybe 20,000 Antifa rioters. I've actually seen a riot, a protest of Navalny. When I was in Moscow, I actually saw in Pushkinskaya Square a Navalny rally. And there was around like 20,000 Antifa guys. I mean, if you had to like describe these people that were at this rally, they were Antifa. Everyone in the US and in Europe, you know exactly what I mean by that profile. It was 20,000 Antifa people in Pushkinskaya Square. And those were the people that are supporting Navalny. So we had this story, another story of desperation for the Zelensky regime as they're trying to figure out a way to terrorize Russians and to somehow escalate things, because on the ground they're having a terrible time of it. And what they came up with is going after Russian journalists. And they actually went, and let me get a list of the journalists that they tried to assassinate. This was many plots were foiled by the Russian FSB. But among the people on this kill list were the editor-in-chief of RT, Margarita Samonyan, another very famous journalist, Solovyov, Kiselyov, Skapeva, and Popov. Keosayan, Simonyan as well, the husband of the RT editor-in-chief, was also targeted for assassination. So they had all of these very, very prominent talk show hosts and Russian journalists and celebrities targeted for assassination. Supposedly the FSB claims that it's detained a group of neo-NSEIs. The group has been instructed by the Security Service of Ukraine, the SBU, to kill popular Russian TV host and journalist Vladimir Solovyov. The FSB later released a video of what they said was the detention, search, and questioning of these suspects. And they also went after editor-in-chief Margarita Simonyan and her husband, and all kinds of other Russian journalists and talk show hosts and TV personalities. So this is where this is what the collective West and the Zelensky regime have come to, is trying to find ways to terrorize the Russians by going after their journalists. And I'm sure that they're going to try to, the collective West will try to come up with some sort of projection technique in the next coming days and say that Vladimir Putin is someone who persecutes and goes after journalists and kills journalists and murders journalists and all of this stuff, when allegedly you have the FSB in Russia with video evidence and documentation saying that the Zelensky regime was targeting Russian journalists. And it wouldn't surprise me, because the Zelensky regime has already silenced opposition media. This is even before the conflict. They shut down opposition media sources, news channels, publications, internet sites. They completely shut them down. They shut down most publications in the Russian language. They imprisoned and put under house arrest opposition leaders like Medvedchuk, who was in house arrest, and now he's being held under arrest by the Zelensky regime. And so this wouldn't surprise me if the Zelensky regime, under orders from the collective West, decided to target and to try and assassinate Russian journalists in some sort of an attempt to demoralize the Russian society and polarize the Russian society. As Vladimir Putin said in his speech that he gave, I believe yesterday, in the speech that he made to the Russian people, which was pretty much along the lines of, Ukraine is losing so bad and the collective West is losing so bad in the proxy war in Ukraine, as well as in the economic war of attrition, that they're resorting to trying to terrorize the Russian people and trying to polarize the Russian people and turn the Russian people against the war by taking out prominent celebrities, by killing prominent celebrities, and trying to sour Russians' support of the war. And so that's what's going on there. And finally, let's do a clown world. Let's do a clown world and wrap it up. And let me walk back up here. So this is a good clown world. So I didn't know that the Cannes Film Festivals is taking place, or is about to take place, or is taking place. But the Cannes Film Festival in France had a movie that they were going to premiere, they were going to show, and the movie is a zombie movie. And the name of the zombie movie was, take a wild guess what the name of this zombie movie was. And I say was. It was called Z. That's what this, and it's a French film from director Michael Hazanavicius. His movie was called Z. And it was actually a zombie comedy. It was a zombie comedy movie. It was based on, I believe it was based on a Japanese zombie comedy movie. And next month, okay, the Cannes Film Festival, say that fast 3 times. The Cannes Film Festival is next month. And, well, Ukraine petitioned to change the name of this zombie comedy because it was going to be called Z. And then Ukraine had an absolute fit, and they said, how dare you call anything Z? How dare you use the letter Z in a film title? And, well, the director caved in, and now he's calling the film Coupé in France. It's going to be called Coupé, and its international title is going to be called Final Cut? The Final Cut. While its international title, Final Cut, remains the same. I'm not sure what that means. In France, the movie's going to be called Coupé, and the international title, Final Cut, remains the same. Okay, so I guess it's going to be called Final Cut, yeah, on international screens, and Coupé in France. So everyone who is directing a movie or plans to direct a movie or produce a movie, do not call it Z. As a matter of fact, I don't even think we should say the word zombie. I think we should just say Ambi. The Z has to go. So from now on, there's no such thing as zombies, just Ambis. Oh my God. Oh, here, the director said this: "My film is meant to bring joy, and I wouldn't want it to be associated in any way, shape, or form to this war." So he was happy to change the title, and through this modest gesture, show my full support to the Ukrainian people. That's right. Virtue signal, bow down and kiss the ring, Mr. Zombie Z comedy movie director. Yep. Until we get the next new thing. It's the blue and gold Ukraine narrative that everyone has to virtue signal for. And we'll see what the next new thing is in 6 months. But all right. So another Z cancellation, guys. So this is the area that I was talking about, right here, where they're going to build supposedly a 5-6-star Qatari or UAE or something. One of these big construction groups from one of these super wealthy countries. They're going to build something here, something. We'll see. All right, everybody, that is the video. TheDuran.locals.com. Take care.